Okay, so that, right now, or today, Algebra 1, Section 1.2, Order of Operations. This is a huge idea for all students to understand in terms of their success with math. One thing is whenever with math teachers, and you see this in the book, when it says evaluate an expression, that means find the value. Okay. Also, if you say solve the expression, that also means find the value. It means solve it. We go through some examples, of course, after the distinguish the key concepts or definitions, which I think are the key concepts definitions. I could be mistaken, depends on the teacher. But this is the big stuff, the order of operations right here. So step 1 is evaluate expressions inside grouping symbols, parentheses or brackets. Again, I'm going to go over some examples of how those work, but when you see those are grouping symbols. There are some other ones out there, but those are the most common ones. Step 2, evaluating powers. Okay, so that's powers and little exponent. We're going to evaluate that after. So make sure they go in this order. So you got to do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and so forth. Step 3 is multiply and or divide from left to right. All right. Again, I'm going to do some examples. And then step 4 is add or subtract from left to right. So these are, I think, the key concepts of section 1.2 of the Algebra book we're using. It is a huge, will come up many times throughout the year, so as long as students can try to understand this concept now, or at least have an idea or grasp it a little bit, they'll be fine. So if you need to pause it real quick so you can write down these things, and I'm going to do quite a few examples of how these work. Okay, so here's some examples from section 1.2. First one is, again, the instructions for these say evaluate each expression. So first one is 4 to the 4th. That can be written as, and this is for some students, it might be a little bit easier this way, because it's 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. And then you just plug that into your calculator, or you can easily just go, for the most part, we just use our calculators, but that's going to be 16 times 16. And we multiply those two numbers together, and what we end up getting would be 256. So, sorry, I'm going to use a different color. 256. If we plug that in our calculator, 4 to the 4th is 256. So again, that's an exponent one. Pretty simple, just straightforward. This one, we have two operations going on. We have a 30 minus 14 divided by 2. So if we look at the order of operations, again, 1 is grouping, 2 is exponents, 3 is multiplying or divide, 4 is addition or subtraction. So we need to do this part first. Okay? So that means we're going to get 30 minus 7, because 14 divided by 2 is 7. So now what we need to do is now we can do that, we just subtract them. Because we're going to go left to right, so this is going to be 23. So that's your final answer there. Now, if we look at number 6, moving on to my examples, it's parentheses 2 plus 5 times 4. If that 4 is on the outside parentheses, that means multiplication or times. We need to do step 1, which is inside the parentheses first. So that means 2 plus 5, that's going to be 7 times 4. So 7 times 4, 28. Okay, so that's what we get there. Next, we get bracket 8 times 2 minus 4 squared plus 7 times 4. Again, a lot more going on here, but we need to do the inside part first. So it's this part first. Now, we need to do the exponents as the second step. So we'll go 8. So we'll just go ahead and leave my bracket there. Right, a little bigger. Minus 16. I'm going to go ahead and multiply those together. Okay, so we get that. Now, because it's 7 times 4 and it's outside of our grouping, so it does us no harm to go ahead and do it since it's outside of our grouping. Now, let's go ahead and multiply these two together. So that means we're going to get parentheses 16 minus 16, or bracket, plus 28. So now we can go inside the bracket 16 minus 16. That's going to just end up equaling 0. Plus 28. 0 plus any number is just that number, so 28 is our answer. Okay. And the last example I'm going to do is 4 times 3 squared, all divided by 9 plus 3. Now, for the most part, what we need to do, we need to do the parentheses first. So that means we're going to get 12 squared over 9 plus 3. Alright, so next we do the exponents first. So it's going to be 144 over 9 plus 3. This is where it's a little bit tricky in terms of oral operations. This says multiply first before we add or subtract. Multiply, divide, then add or subtract. But see how we have 9 plus 3 all on the bottom? That's kind of like one term. So if you want to think about it, since it's all divided, those are kind of like parentheses. It's grouped together. They're hidden parentheses, so they're not like straightforward. So this becomes 144 plus 12. If we do it that way, now we can divide, and this equals 12. Okay, so there's just a few examples of some order of operations, all a little different, all ranging from a little different difficulty, but for the most part it's straightforward. Parentheses first, exponents, multiply, divide, and then addition, subtraction. There's some other examples where they tell you the variables and you just plug in the variables and go from there. So hopefully that helps with 1.2, in order of operations.